the phones lit up, the people that had phone service. And I stayed on for 6 hours. In the 4th hour of that show, Don, we got a phone call. Guess who?
The governor?
Governor Hunt. And he was pissed. He was livid. So I put him on. And I said, well, how do you know that your bureaucrats aren't out there helping? You should have issued an executive order commanding them, telling them that they had to go. And he goes, well, I don't know where you're from, but here in the South, I'm from farther south than you. It was one of the greatest segments. It's probably the best segment I ever did on that radio station. But he was on with me for like a half an hour, and I got him to pledge, and he did it. Mike Church, look this up. I got him to pledge that he was going to issue an executive order and command people back to work, and he did. The next day, they all went back to work. That's the power of live radio, by the way. But that's also the power of people saying, no, you can't do. We're not going to let you do that. You can't do that. You must do what you signed up to do. And so that's a moment here. Now, I wonder, 4 weeks ago today, Mr. Bronx to Florida, you and I talked for almost an hour about the IVF mandate, and I'm voting for Proposition 4 in Florida, and Trump throwing the pro-lifers under the bus. And by this afternoon, less than 12 hours later, or 24 hours after he said it, he had already recanted it. And he never spoke about IVF again. And then he came out and he said, no, it's a good bill. I'm a little concerned about the time, but it's a terrible bill, and we're going to vote against it in Florida. We're going to vote against it. Came out against. Now that's the power of pressure. Pro-life people applied enough pressure. I don't know, though. Can you apply pressure for what Melania has done? And why? Why do this? And you can't tell me that the campaign wasn't in on this.
There's been a few of these unforced errors throughout the campaign. And, it's really befuddling. But I don't know all the people that are in President Trump's circle. But he's been getting, obviously, some bad advice on a few different things. And then he tries to combat it with, I think, some really wonderful things like honoring Our Lady on her birthday, honoring St. Michael the Archangel. Those are tremendous. So I feel like he's trying to play both sides here. Probably knew that this was going to come out in her memoir. Maybe the St. Michael post was to get out in front of what was going to be coming out in Melania's book. Obviously, very, very disappointing. We don't know what Melania, I think we've all assumed Melania had a faith. She showed up to the Vatican veiled with the rosary in her hands. But, Jill Biden did basically the same exact thing. So, if President Trump is going to convert, it's going to be from other good men around him. And it's going to be from, obviously, his own soul being impacted by prayers and by our Lord. It's clearly not going to come from Melania.
Yes, and Magdalene Rose wants to call in and talk about the young Catholic response to Melania coming out as pro-choice. He knew about this because he told Bill Melugin yesterday. He told him, he goes, she asked me before she wrote in the book, can I write about this in my book? I wish to say how passionate I am about the causes of pro-life. Anyway, I can't tell you what to do. You got to make that decision for yourself. So he told Bill Melugin he absolutely knew about it, and he knew it was going into the book as well. I don't know how much he knew, but I agree with you. This is just another unforced error. This doesn't have to happen. Delay the release of the book then. Say, look, we're not. Yep. And by the way, this was leaked out because the Guardian got an advance. So somebody. Either the publisher, and I don't know why they would do it, but somebody leaked out that particular chapter, and so the Guardian published exactly what's in the book, the statement there. But then Melania goes and cuts the video. So that to me tells me planning. And I'm going like, okay, so the single cat ladies are still in, the same people that told Trump to do the IVF thing and to say that he was with Proposition 4 are probably responsible for this. And it just gives it just gives you pause.
Mike, I'm getting mailers to my house that are showing a picture of President Trump with his that original quote on Proposition 4 as a reason to vote for it. So it is being used as propaganda to get people that are less informed to vote for it. Now, I think there's a good enough push here against it that it'll be defeated, but President Trump has certainly not helped on this matter, and obviously Melania is not helping either here at all. So, but at the same time, I don't agree with some of the other folks that are out there on social media that are, making this as though this is going to be horrific for the governance of the country. Roe v. Wade's already been decided.
That's right.
It's a state issue. So there are people on there who I generally agree with on almost everything, who are wringing their hands over these things, but they have there's no influence left at the federal level. They're not saying they're going to push for a federal abortion amendment like Kamala is. So listen, this is the situation that we're in. And these are the choices that we have. And as I've said before, if a good, well-formed Catholic wants to rise up through politics and run for office, have at it. But we don't have any of those folks.
Yeah, we do. His name's J.D. Vance.
You've got Vance. You've got Governor DeSantis, right?
Right.
And neither of them are perfect. But this is the best we have going right now. We don't have a traditional Catholic who is going to be, fire and brimstone on these issues that is in a position to run for a higher office. So if you want to be, if you want to make change, that's how it's unfortunately going to happen. Or the pro-life movement has to be much more better equipped to fight these things at the state level, and they've proven to be that they're not. And it's taken people like Governor DeSantis and other people at the state level to rally the troops, so to speak, against these types of issues, when there should have been an operation in place from the very beginning, where as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, to go right into the states and to immediately start fighting against this, because they knew Planned Parenthood was coming. This is, by the way, what many other good organizations did when, I don't know if everybody remembers, but there was a Supreme Court case called the Janus case, which overturned the ability of states, of pro-union states, to force their workers into unions as a condition of employment. So places like California, Illinois, you could no longer force someone to join a teachers union or any other government union as a condition of employment. As soon as that happened, there were organizations that were in place, ready to go, to start getting people out of the unions in those states, start helping the teachers and the other workers in those government unions to get out. That movement was ready to go. Pro-life movement had nothing in place when this was overturned, and so this is what you're seeing play out.
I want to say something else about this. Don from the Bronx to Florida, our cultural affairs correspondent, and also our stats guy when we do election coverage, and hopefully you'll be able to make it on November the 5th, and there will be a big party. I talked about this yesterday, and I was not talking about you or yelling at you in the chat room. I was thinking out loud, and this is what I said, and I want to go back to it, and now that you're here, then you and I can talk about it. I was alive, I voted in 3 elections that were monstrous landslide. I voted in a 49-state landslide, and I voted in a pair of 48-state landslides. I want to live in landslide America again, because there is no doubt that the people and the administration, as far as the executive branch goes, that are running the United States of America are enemies of the people. They've declared war. Schumer confirmed it yesterday on the steps of the Capitol. Yeah, we imported 11 million in because you idiots won't go out there and make babies. So yeah, you're being replaced. You're going to be replaced, or we're going to naturalize all of them. These people have failed in almost every duty and task they've been charged with. You know that these idiots got billions of dollars, $9 billion appropriated to make broadband, super broadband, fiber optic across all rural America. You know how rural America 3 years later gets broadband? Elon Musk from a satellite. There's not been a mile of fiber optic cable. These people are completely they make Jimmy Carter look efficient. The Carter regime looks efficient. It looks productive. So I want to know, if we have fallen that far to where an average citizen, I don't care how or who you registered as, if you cannot identify that this is something that is to the detriment of you and your family and therefore your progeny, then there is no salvation. There is nothing to fix because you people are broken. So I want to live in landslide America. And if there's ever been another opportunity where it ought to be landslide, a referendum on the current administration, right? And then with a solution that is workable, plausible, and practical. This should be a landslide election. We should be talking about not whether or not the Trump-Vance ticket wins, but do they win 46, 47, 48, or 49 states? That's what we should be talking about. But look at what the Democrat Party and the evil has done. It's made it so that it's closed. It shouldn't be closed. What is there actually to decide, Don?
Just abortion. That's it. That's all they're running on. That's all they're running on. They're appealing to single white cat ladies, and they're hoping there's enough single white cat ladies come out to vote, and that men get lazy and don't get their vote in, and that's their whole plan is based on that. That's it. That's all they're running on. I mean, you see it in the campaign ads they run. If you watch like college football on Saturdays, you'll see these ads that they run in all the different markets. They're running these ads all related to abortion. They're all abortion related. That's all they have. That's all they're running on. They're not running on any of the so-called plans they have for the economy. So, but yes, we have fallen that far. It's really, really sad. I mean, since the last blowout election, which would have been '88, Bush v. Dukakis, I think we have fallen that far. Government schools have done their damage.
Yep.
They've been very successful. Very few people have the ability to think for themselves. And we've lost a lot of critical thinking skills. And I think a lot of people are very lazy. They like their comforts.
But you're not going to have those comforts. You're going to give them up. These people run the show in your state. If you don't have Ron DeSantis to protect you.
That's true. But they can't think through those problems. They can't think through. They can't even get to that point. To me, I find actually, and if you're from the Midwest, I mean, obviously, what you're surrounded by, especially if you live in a state governed by a Tim Walz or what you have in Wisconsin or Jim Whitmer in Michigan. But that generation of boomers, Midwest boomers, I don't know what they're doing up there in terms of who they're electing to office. But that is one of the most ill-informed voting blocks in the country.
Yes, it is.
Midwest. What are you doing? What are you doing electing who you're electing to governor in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Even Mike DeWine in Ohio.
Dummy.
Allowing that guy to be doing what he was been doing, like going back to COVID in 2020. I mean, this is some awful, some of the worst governors in the country are in the Midwest. And I put that on the citizens up there. I don't know what they're doing. It's a very mysterious voting block up there. And to me, if you want to look at who is the problem right now, it's them. We know what we're going to get from California. We know what we're going to get from places like Massachusetts and New York. But the Midwest, you would think there might be some level of sanity there. And it shouldn't be as difficult as it is to win those states.
No.
But Pennsylvania, with Shapiro all the way across to Waltham, Minnesota, that block, that Rust Belt block, that blue wall is very difficult for Trump to make grounds there, and for really any Republican to make grounds there since President Bush in '88.
I don't know how you, in good conscience, you even pulled a lever for the non-citizen Kamala Harris. Quickly, to the Magdalene Rose. Magdalene, we only got about a minute, but we can extend on YouTube if we want. After the top of the hour, you have a update. What's the reaction with young Catholics about the Melania thing?
It's that they're disgusted and they don't understand why, with a few days to go, really, till the election, this had to happen. And I will tell you, there are Instagram accounts I follow who are young Catholic mothers just sharing their lives, and I've never really seen them be political before, except this has changed that, and they're expressing their dismay. This could greatly hurt him with young female voters, especially young Catholic women, Because if those women on Instagram are speaking out, I imagine in private the conversations are even more.
That's Don. That's pretty much what we feared. All right, Magdalene, we're going to have to leave it there because time is up. But thanks for the update, Don. Thank you. I got to go. Another great Friday. Appreciate you, brother.